Good morning, Eastern Standard Time. Good morning. And I'm just gonna jump right in. I had a dream last night. And I think he's been on my mind for quite some time now. So I feel comfortable in talking about this. I'm gonna have a vulnerable moment. A couple of them during this feeds. But I want to talk to a particular subset of human beings within the human race. Excuse me about that. I had to position myself. You see the title of the feed. It says Prodigal Sons and Daughters. Of course, we all know the story. Some of you may not. And if you do not, then, it's in the Bible. I think it's under Luke, where Jesus tells the story of the son who asked for his inheritance early, and his father gave it to him, and his father gave it to him, and he went out into the world, and he spent it frivolously. He balled. He, in layman's term, in 2024's terms, he balled out, right? And he was real frivolous with it, did not use it wisely, and his living habits were as such. And after his money ran out, he took up jobs as doing this and doing that, to the point where he couldn't even feed himself, a basic necessity. And so now we're here, and he took up jobs that were, what would be deemed as shameful to the people that were to the status of living that which he had come from. A pig tamer, I think it was, and it was shameful. And he did what he had to do to eat, and he could barely feed himself. So at the very end, he made a decision to come on back home. He came on back home, and his father, whose sons, he had siblings who were at home, and they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, and as such, and the father lamented and celebrated the fact that the son came back home. And I'm going to shoot this story in so many different ways, because what Jesus wanted to demonstrate was God's unconditional love. Of course, the Father was the symbol of God on earth, and how, even though we make mistakes, our Father still wants to forgive us. But I'm going to shoot this story in so many different ways. And while that story has its meaning and it has its purpose, to teach us as students of life, how the deity, the Father that sits on high and looks down low, is unconditional in our love. As such, we should be as well. But I want to speak from the daughter or son stance, the prodigal sons or daughter stance, to the prodigal son and daughter. From that stance, in the Bible somewhere, it talks about, and I don't want to get too preachy or too biblical this morning, and I don't want to have anyone believe that there is an ascription to any particular religion. I'm speaking solely to the spirit this morning. There is this thing that we speak to, and I want to speak from a spiritual stance. I'm just using this biblical story to hone in on the point. And I want to speak to the prodigal son or daughter this morning from their stance, and I want to speak to their spirit. There are so many of us out here who are, and I'm going to get to my dream in a minute. There are so many of us out here who are downtrodden, who have fallen, who have done some shameful, dirty, guilt-ridden things that they should be guilt-ridden for, that they are guilt-ridden for, and they carry that. Even those who have gotten up from those shameful, dirty things, and who are in the process of working themselves through. You know, I want to talk to those people, right? To those people, I want to talk to you. If you got something you ashamed of, you abandoned a child or abandoned a lover or cheated on a lover, or, you know, these are things that are speaking to my spirit this morning. You stole something. You done some despicable things, all for the sake of ... ellipses. You fill in the dot. You know what it is. You don't have to go in the chat and shout it out. You ain't got to go fall on no altar. You know for yourself. Why? Because you've been carrying this burden all so long, you know, and society has written you off, right? Whether it be alcoholism, whether it be drugs, whether it be a sexual deviant, whether it be, you know, whatever, you know what society has written you off for. You know, and even if society hasn't written you off and you get up every morning and you come into work, or you come into, you know, you take your child to the daycare, or you engage in your relationship, or you engage in your marital companionship, and it's something that's there inside of you that you only know about, you and the man upstairs, or the woman, or the universe knows about, you know, or one other human being, the person you confess to, whatever your belief is, you know, whether you went into the confession portal and you confessed it to that priest, and or you bowed down before your God and made dua, or, you know, like, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking to that person, to that spirit, to that part of you that you feel like if anybody found out, right, whether society has written you off because they can see it, drug addiction, alcoholism laid out in the street, the homeless person in the street, the unhoused individual, the person who is, I want to talk to that person whether you can see it or cannot see it, right? And it's weighing down on you so heavy. So I want to talk to that person, right? And the other night I had a dream, but I think it was last night. My day's been running together so crazy. I had a dream about my brother last night, you know, and all this is going to tie together. So if you with me, stay with me this morning, because this is going to rock. Okay? I had a dream about my brother last night, you know, and so many things came out during the time when he came home. For those of you who don't know, there was a period of time where me and my brothers were separated. You know, we were separated as siblings longer than we were in each other's had the opportunity to share each other's company. You know, at age 15 my mother died. You know, she transitioned from this mortal coil, you know, and my brothers and I, you know, we wound up with family. We were together for 4 years post, approximately 3 or 4 years post my mom's transition from this earth. And I, for whatever reason, wound up where I wound up at. My feet wound up where I wound up at. My life began to take on a course. I wound up on a course. Some of it was beyond, some of it was within my control, and a lot of it was out of my control, right? It was happening. It was going to happen. It was destined. And I see that now. But some of those instances were within my control. And my brothers, for whatever reason, we lost contact. One of my brothers had transitioned while I was on my course, while I was on my path, while I was on my journey, right? Because these things all was necessary to shape me into the person that these experiences had to happen. And I know this today. I believe this in my soul. And I had to go on my own separate journey. And I was going my journey, and when I was coming through a particular portal of my journey, right, my first brother transitioned, right? Matter of fact, April, May, approximately 60 days after crossing over a portal into another portion of my journey in my life, my brother transitioned. My brother the middle baby. They call him the knee baby. And he transitioned, and I had the opportunity to go and attend services for him. And then, you know, back in 2014 or 15, I want to say 16, something like that, my other brother, which is the baby, he came home. You know, he was in another state. Both my brothers went to another state, and they set up lives there. They were on their journeys, and they were on their respective journeys there. And when my brother came home, my youngest brother came home, he apprised me of some things that had took place between he and my other brother. And, you know, my baby brother was abused, you know, physically, emotionally, and mentally. You know, after we parted, you know, at my age of 17 to 18 years old, you know, and my brother was younger than myself, 4 or 5 years younger than myself. So he was underage. He couldn't. So my other brother stepped in when I stepped out. Yeah, I'll say that. When I stepped out and checked out, my other brother stepped in. So I please stay with me this morning. You know, when I woke up and I was hygiening myself this morning, you know, this really dropped in my spirit, and I could not shake it for some reason, and I had to get on this morning. And my brother stepped in, and, you know, because of, you know, a lot of different tools that he was deficient, and as with myself, you know, he was ill-equipped to tend to the affairs of my younger brother. Right. And this is not enough time to go into the particulars. You know, we could definitely, you know, talk at another time. But, you know, my younger brother was physically and emotionally abused, you know, by my other brother. And now, while I'm not, you know, I don't want to make him out to be a villain. You know, he was ill-equipped. You know, no child should be left with the responsibility of parenting another child, right? And things worked out that way for us. And what happened was my brother grew up with these things, right? My youngest, both brothers, but it didn't start with them. It didn't start with me. It started somewhere else. It didn't even start with my mother. It didn't even start with my grandmother, you know. So this is the compassion and the understanding that we talk about. And it ties into the story that I was telling at the beginning about the prodigal son, about how the father had practiced unconditional love. You know, beginning the process of learning how to practice unconditional love and unconditional understanding, and walking in that truth that comes from those two is so powerful. Right? You know, you're talking to a person that, and I need to say these things because you're talking to a person who spent years angry, right? And how did I express that anger? I expressed it through the portal of self-loathing, right? You know, I didn't go out and destroy property and burn down buildings and, you know, hurt people physically, but I hurt people emotionally, but I didn't do it physically. I didn't do it to other property and other people. I harmed myself, which is the most important, vital, and this is all going to tie into the prodigal son and me speaking to that prodigal son and daughter that's out there. You know, we see you, right? There are members of society that see you, right? And we know that you're hurting, right? And we know that you're struggling, right? And we know that you're in pain, right? And I'm going to go a step further and say this, that we know that pain it originated somewhere. It didn't just pop up. You just didn't pop up one day and say, I want to be, you fill in the blank. I want to be this. You know, I remember being in second grade and saying that, you know, when I'm in the second, when I want to grow up, I want to be I didn't say I wanted to be some of the things that I turned out to be when I was started out on my journey, when I was experiencing those things that I was experiencing, you know, in my young adulthood. I didn't say I wanted to be those things. I wanted to be things like a journalist. Yeah. I wanted to be something that was like, that I felt was going to feed all parts of me, right? That was the person that I was. right? I did never said I wanted to be, you just fill in the blank. And once again, I'm speaking to that prodigal son or that prodigal daughter or that prodigal mother or that bastard child that society calls us, the labels that they put on you or put on us, right? I want to talk to that person this morning. We talk about how God, that story was symbolic of God giving us unconditional love, right? And forgiving us for whatever it is we've done or is doing, right? Right? Any harms or trespasses we've brought across our fellow brothers and sisters, our brethren, or man, right? I want to talk about, do you forgive yourself? When will you you have a God, you have a universe, you have a deity, right? Whatever name you call him, who has let you off the hook, who knows, who is all knowing and all seeing. Listen, they say that this God, the God, is that knows everything that you're going to go through, right? Right? So they forgive you, right? And practice unconditional love, right? And practices unconditional love in the space of that, right? When will you let yourself off the hook, and when will you forgive yourself? Right. I want to let that sit right there. You got people like once because society has a short memory when we do great things. When we do, let me rephrase that. Society's memory is just as long as the deeds are good and they are flowing and we are in their good graces. But the minute there is a mess up, the minute there is a slip, the minute there is a dip, our society has a very short memory on the good deeds that we have manifested. Ask me how I know, right? Ask me how I know, because I've been where you are. And in some instances, when you look at certain particular areas of my life, I am where you are right now, sister and brother, who is downtrodden, struggling in that dark place and don't feel like there's a way out, hopeless, helpless, homeless, penniless. I could go on. And so I'm learning how to ask and speak for that person or that being that does not or cannot speak for themselves right now. You are where you are right now, but you don't have to stay there. And if you have gotten up and if you have crossed through a portal, guess what? You never have to go back there again. Right? If you're living in the house or a shanty shack, whether it be physically or emotionally or spiritually, right? The house that you're in, you don't have to burn it down to get a new one, right? You could take the house that you're actually living in and rebuild from there. Make good use of your time and materials. Make good use of the survival skills and the techniques that you've accrued during that life that you're living, or in this life that you're living. Just stop for a minute and think, what can I do? What's the next move that I can make that could advance me to the next level? And that's at any level where you're at. If you've crossed through, if you've gotten up off the sidewalk and you're no longer homeless and you're living in subsidy and you've gotten social public assistance and you have gotten better and you feel like this is good, what can you do to do better? If you have children, you have a legacy that you're leaving behind. There's no shame in falling down. The shame is in not getting up. Start where you are and rebirth and rebuild from there. Whew. I dreamt about my brother. Let me tell you about the dream. And, you know, he was trying to get himself together, much like what was going on before he transitioned. And he needed somebody to speak for him, right? And he was going for a job that he might not have gotten if someone did not speak for him. And he didn't want to apply for the job. This is my dream. He didn't want to apply for the job, and I encouraged him to do so, right? I encouraged him to do so. And I encouraged him to do so. I'm sorry. I'm getting a lot of texts for whatever. Negative energies, lower power, lower deities and lower vibrational energies. No, they be at work when you trying to get something out. But my brother, he was going for this job. I encouraged him to do so. And at some point we ended up in an auditorium full of people who their votes, majority votes, would have determined if he got this job or not. And it involved him being, I want to say law enforcement. I'm real foggy on the job, because one of the first questions when I spoke up for him was that I said, who does not feel like my brother's name should not be within your ranks? And a number of people raised their hands. And I said, with everything, this is where I'm about to tie it in. I said, with everything that you know of him and what he's done with his tools and how his skill set, who better to be at your back on this side, right? You know, my brother, you know, he had a criminal past, you know, may whoever his God is be pleased with him, you know, and may whatever he did, you know, like that story that we talked about in the beginning, may whatever be that he received the unconditional love that story spoke of, and that promise that the Bible holds out for all of us, right, who have sinned and fallen short, right? May that creator be pleased with him, whoever he believes in. And so who better, you know, like prodigal son and daughter, right? Like your skills, your coping mechanisms, right? Your survival mechanisms, they kicked in. And for whatever reason, you had to do what you had to do with what you had to do it with. Like, now that you're trying to get up, or now that you want to get up, or now that the desire for you to get up has welled up in you, even if you're just saying, I can't go on like this, whatever it is you're saying that has you doubting that your way of life is no longer a set path for you, like, what will you do? Right? Hey, Teresa, how are you? I'm talking about the prodigal sons and daughters. I don't know what you came on, but you're more than welcome to come on and speak to, you know, what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking to the prodigal son and daughter. I'm not talking about the story. I'm talking about this person that's downtrodden, struggling, and without right now. You know, like your skill set, your coping mechanisms, you know, everything that you use to survive, right? You know, I'm talking to you, prodigal. Like, those skills are skills that you can use right here, right now. We need you. Society needs you. So if you're laying on the sidewalk, get up. If you're hiding out in somebody's house, in the back room, right? Come out. If you are sitting somewhere on somebody's stoop and you don't know which way to go, right? Get up and take the first step. Because every journey starts with the first step. Right? If you don't know what to do something. If it's something that you don't want to do, then don't do it. If you know that it's one more brick, one more pebble that will be added to your house of decay and dismay, don't add it. Do the opposite. So, I just wanted to talk to my brothers and sisters who are struggling this morning. And I'm not talking about, struggle. I'm talking about struggle money. Can't pay the, few dollars short, got a little bit of savings, whatever. I'm talking about the struggle. And I think some of you who come on know what I mean. Like, not a penny, not a bank to put a penny in. If you had a penny, you didn't have a bank account to even put it in to start saving. I want to talk to that person, right? I want to talk to that person. That person, hey, Miss Favors, how are you? I want to talk to that person. Your God has forgiven you. Why won't you forgive yourself? Practice the grace and mercy that's available to all of us, right? Sin or saint. Right? The same mercy and grace that's allowed and allotted to the saint, even more so, is allowed to you. So you, my prodigal sister, my prodigal brother, aunt, uncle, whatever you're doing that has you guilt-ridden and ashamed, you don't need to be anymore. Does anybody want to come on and talk to and speak to prodigal sons and daughters from the stance of the prodigal son and daughter? The father is fine. The father is fine. And you know who I'm talking about, right? The father is fine. He's going to do what he's going to do for you. If you believe in Buddhism, the universe will do what it will do for you. In any religion, there is this overall arching umbrella that says if you make one step, that God, that deity, that universe will align itself and rally behind you. What say you? Is there anybody who wants to come on and speak to that? I'm going to go with Miss Favors first because I think that this is my first time seeing her on here in a long time. If you decline, I won't be mad. That's always my little disclaimer. She declined. Okay, no problem. I see Teresa. Teresa was up here first. Teresa, if you decline, I won't be mad. I am so thirsty. It says Annie. It says Annie. Is Larry coming on to talk to me and everybody on Facebook? Oh, yeah. If you decline, I won't be mad, Larry. Okay. Okay. It's on a little bit longer than I anticipated. Okay. Okay, while we're waiting on Larry, I want to do a little plug. Integrative wellness is the reboot and the rebirth. This is the reboot. This is the rebirth. Okay, no answer from. Okay, what about Teresa? No, not Teresa. Is it Larry? Who did I try to invite? Okay, I don't know. This is the reboot and the rebirth for integrative wellness. I got a series of events coming up. There is a link here, right? There is a link. Participate in what, Miss Favors? I just invited you on camera. You want me to invite you back on? with regards to, and if you're talking about you declined, but you could accept and then come on, you declined again. I don't know. Okay, well, let me do my plug. Integrative wellness, this is the reboot. This is the rebirth. Like in like when they remix R&B songs. Yeah, you declined. I know, but you're saying, how do you participate? You accept. I don't know. But this is the reboot and the rebirth of integrative wellness. I put together 5 social events in an attempt to bring people together to push the brand. The first one, the mask, is just for show. The link is right there in the chat. You are more than welcome to click on there and get your tickets early. Early purchase is $50. It's a masquerade ball. If you know somebody who would like this, if this is something that you're not into and you know somebody who would be into it, I'm here to push that brand. I'm trying to see where my flyer is. Oh, here's my flyer. Let me see if I can get it up. I don't know if you can read it, but it's the mask. It's just for show. $50. The early purchase tickets. What do you get for your early purchase ticket? You get alcoholic beverage or 2 mocktails, 1 cocktail or 2 mocktails. What does that mean? That means that those who have made choices and not to imbibe on alcoholic spirits, they can get 2 that comes with your ticket, a 3-course meal, fun and excitement. Your ticket also automatically enters you into a contest who has the hottest donned out and diva out masquerade ball get up. You will be able to possibly win a cash prize. You also are okay. I will do it next time. Getting ready for work. Okay, got you. So that's my flyer. The link is in the post. You can go on. 100 people only, limited capacity. So I've sold some tickets. As we get closer, I'm gathering that I will be getting more. I'm just not pushing the event here. Bear that in mind. I am pushing it on other venues. All events, Eventbrite. I gave them to the construction workers across the street from us. He committed to putting it in the barbershop. I got these flyers at Wawa. Everywhere. There's also another event that I am a sister to. I'm pushing their flyer. Mother's Day. Where is the other flyer? On Mother's Day, if you have nowhere to go in East Orange, you need to be in the house. $50 gets you a dinner, a play, and some interaction and engaging with other mothers and daughters. It's a pink and white affair. Get on out there. The address is Bethune Banquet Hall at 26 Washington Street in East Orange, New Jersey. That is more closer than my event, and I probably should have mentioned that one first, but I'm here to tell you, if you ain't got nowhere to go for Mother's Day, East Orange. Banquet Hall, Bethune-Cookman, 26 Washington Street in East Orange, New Jersey. Go out and get that play, She Gave Life. Featuring the play She Gave Life. And there's food, fun, and fellowship. Hey, cousin, how are you? I can't bring you on camera. I'm getting ready to go on. You came a little late, but if you get a chance, guys, run this back. This thing was on fire this morning. I was on fire this morning. I had a dream last night about our cousin, my baby brother Barnett, and so that fueled this this feed. So you guys go back. Run it back. If you think there's somebody out here in your life that could benefit from this, share it with them. Share it with them. Reel it, and let's get this thing going. Let's speak to our prodigal brothers and sisters who are down and struggling. The ones that are good they are good, right? And even the ones that got money and all the materialistic trappings of the world, they could be poor too. Speak to them, share it with them. There's a deficient in all of our lives. We may not be able to recognize it, but when we got a fresh pair of eyes who have mercy and grace tempered with it, we're able to see it, and we're able to approach our brothers and sisters and say, I see you. You guys have a good day. You deserve it. You definitely deserve it if you are pursuing it. Love you all, guys, and Looking forward to seeing you at The Mask is Just for Show or at the Pink and White Affair on Mother's Day, May 17th in East Orange, New Jersey. Love you guys. Enjoy.